It's not rustling now though, is it?
No.
No.
Right.
It's only because I was drinking myself out. Yep.
Red dot's on. It's on Franco.
Okay. Yeah.
Loud.
It's on the name one. Okay.
Okay, here we go. G'day everyone, Franco from Fresh Air Carpet Cleaner here again, and this week we're going to have a little bit of a chat about people who like to try and do carpets themselves, and a few little pros and cons you may not have thought of in the past. So that could be a good little topic for discussion for you to listen to. We'll take a little bit more in a sec.
All right. Makes it easier. Right. You bring it back, and then we'll start talking.
And here we are, we're back in the studio again with Mr. Michael Worthington, and we're going to try and get through this without laughing too much, because we seem to do that from time to time, don't we? Get a bit off track.
Well, you came into the studio and said, Michael, I'm going to talk about people cleaning their own carpets. I couldn't help it.
It started, and that's the end of that.
No, it's like, really? People still think they can do things like this? Oh, of course, the Bunnings and the rest of them got the nice handy machines.
Yeah, there's all sorts of machines out there. And yeah, you can go out there and you can do a job for your carpets, and it can make it look a little bit better. But really, to what depth are you actually cleaning, and how well are you cleaning it? And is it really worth your time and effort at the end of the day, and the cost involved as well, to do it yourself?
I think there's a few things, you know. It's the wear and tear on your carpet. If you're using the wrong materials, that we're going to talk about some of the chemicals, it just destroys them. But then you tend to do them I've had friends that clean their carpets 3 or 4 times a year, and I'm thinking, that's going to be wearing the things out anyway. And I think a big thing for people these days with allergies and health conditions is the residues being left behind. There is huge health issues these days that are just now starting to surface and becoming more well known.
Yeah, we're in a chemical-laden world, and that's the problem. Everywhere we go, there's some form of human chemistry that is affecting us, whether we like it or not. We just can't stop exposure to it unless we go out in the middle of the desert and there's no one around. And I mean, even in the middle of the ocean these days, you've got these bits of plastic floating around the place. It's ridiculous.
Oh, no, it's terrible.
So we really need to be a bit more conscious about what we're doing and how it may be impacting our health.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing when, especially with carpets, because they span such a large area in our home, then you've got the kiddies on it.
Yep.
Or you might have older people visiting with respiratory problems, and then you've got people with allergies on top of this stuff. All of a sudden, all these things start to compound up, and people say, why do I feel tired? Why do I feel fatigued? Why am I always ill? Why?
That's right, because people do build up chemical sensitivities.
Yes.
I mean, even in the industry, there are people that over a period of time, it's a chronic thing. So there's a difference between acute and a chronic. Acute happens straight away. So you get that impact of the chemical on you, and you feel it immediately. Whereas a lot of these things tend to sneak up on you. You get more and more sensitised to it, and one day your body just goes, nope, can't handle this anymore, and over you go.
I bet there's a few people can relate to that on different things, like from foods to drinks they've had too much of. They suddenly say, I can't have any of that. But chemicals are this, as you sneak up, and then people can't.
Because you don't see them.
And they can't quite put their finger on what it is. And when you said you wanted to talk about this today, I thought this is a really good health topic, because it's one of those areas that people may not visually see, but may start to answer a few of the questions and go, maybe I should get my carpets done professionally. There's our lovely neighbour, racing past the window there. But yeah, they look and go, maybe this is where I should start. Maybe I don't need all those tablets from the doctor.
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, look, we do use all sorts of forms of chemistry in carpet cleaning, and there are some products that are okay, and there are some, as I explained to you off air, that are absolutely not okay.
No.
And I'll sort of pick through a couple of the more common ones that are out there in the marketplace, and had a look at what we call the SDS. It's their safety data sheet. So anybody who works with any sort of chemistry is probably somewhat familiar with the safety data sheet, but it sets out the hazardous products that might be in there, and it sets out the health issues, and it sets out all the information about that particular product. Now, I had a look at 4 of them, and there was only 1 out of the 4 which I could even possibly start to recommend as being safe.
Wow.
Okay? So you can be going out there and you actually, unless you understand what an SDS is and can read it, you don't know what you're putting onto your carpet and potentially leaving behind in your carpet as well. Now, the thing is that with all of the people that supply you these hire machines, they're giving you chemistry for you. It's an unknown quantity and you're just trusting them to make sure that it's all okay. But the problem is that the way that they teach you to do it is by putting the water with the detergent into the machine and then you magically clean the carpets. Now there's two things wrong with that, okay? Number one, there's no contact time. You know, these detergents, they have surfactants in them, which are surface active agents. They tend to penetrate those soils and oils that are on what you're trying to clean off. But it takes time for that to happen. So if you're coming along with the machine and going over the top of it, how much time it has? How much are you actually removing? Are you really removing a lot?
Yeah.
Now, the other one that you picked on before, you actually touched on the subject that you said that a lot of the people that you know that have done that sort of thing in the past, every 3 months or 4 months or, you know, a very short period of time, they're re-cleaning the carpets.
Because they're grotty.
Because they're grotty.
To coin a phrase.
Yeah. And why are they grotty? It's those chemical residues. Now, if you don't know what the residue is that you're leaving behind on your carpet, and you're leaving enough behind that it means in 3 months' time, because these chemicals are mostly what we call hygroscopic, they draw moisture out of the atmosphere and they stay a little bit tacky.
I was going to say,
so
they
they
get a bit
resoil.
sticky, don't they?
They stay sticky. I can always tell a carpet's been cleaned by that sort of a method because you run your hand over the top of it and it's tacky.
Yes.
And so a lot of times when I do go and clean a carpet that's been cleaned consistently with that sort of a method, all I'm doing is rinsing the damn carpet out and getting rid of those residues. So for a professional carpet cleaner, and I'm talking about a proper professional, not a lot of these cheapy ones, a lot of the cheapy ones are still using that sort of methodology. Okay, because it's quick, it's easy, they're in and out as fast as they can. They can't afford the time that we would spend.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think pricing gives you a really good indication on what you're going to get. Because I think even the average person will say, well, if they're going to charge me X amount and they were here for 2 hours, how did they make any money?
Yeah, well, the other flip side is I actually had one of my trainees that I went out with a couple of weeks ago on a job. And he picked this particular job to go to. And when I got there, I took one look at it and I just went, oh, God, this one's going to be difficult. Because it was a particular fibre which is highly detergent residue sensitive and oil sensitive and doesn't absorb a lot of water. But it had been cleaned 4 or 5 times. So it was 4 times, and then the owners had tried to do it themselves as well. And each time it got progressively worse and worse and worse because of the sensitivities of this particular fibre. So we went in with a trainee, and I mean, he's only got a fairly modest machine. It's nothing fantastic, but you know, it does the job. And we came across this carpet that the last person that had been in there had taken 40 minutes to clean. Now, 40 minutes from start to finish, including pre-vacuuming it. At least he did the pre-vacuum. But and no word of a lie. No word of a lie. It took us 1 hour and 15 minutes to pre-vacuum it. So how could he do that whole job in that period of time?
And you've had this before, and you've been to jobs, and clients have said, "It's okay, Franco. I've already vacuumed the carpet."
I love that challenge. I absolutely love it. Because we get to the end of it, and we see just how much comes out of it. I mean, one particular customer, I remember that gave me that challenge, and they had a brand new vacuum cleaner. They'd spent $1,500. It was 2,500 watts. It had every attachment possible. And I said, well, I still want to vacuum the carpet, knowing what I knew what was going to come out of the carpet.
What it's going to come out like.
And I completely filled my machine 5 times, completely from top to bottom, 5 times before she walked away and discussed it. It was in a big silo bin. There was actually that much sitting at the bottom of her bin that had come out of, basically, it was a lounge, dining and 2 bedrooms.
And I think that's the difference, is it getting done professionally. But these chemicals, I think this is a real concern for people, apart from the damage they can do to like your walls and things like that. And we'll get into that. But just from a health perspective, so you went and you got 4 the common ones. And you kind of looked through and after you had your heart attack and a giggle and went, oh my goodness, there's only one I could possibly recommend. Maybe we could run through some so you can actually point out to people that may not understand it, because a safety data sheet, if you're in commercial, you have to supply it.
That's right.
Because then they check it and they go, you're not bringing that on my site.
No.
But in residential, we kind of not into that kind of scrutiny.
Absolutely
so
not,
this is actually
no.
good that you're doing it.
Yeah, and look, these sorts of things are actually available online. And
Yep.
I pulled mine off the computer this morning.
Yes.
Just to have a quick look at it, and I was a bit shocked in a couple of them, and quite surprised, pleasantly surprised in another one of them.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to name names, obviously, but there was one particular one that I looked at, and it had a pH value of, it said between 12.5 to 13.5. So if anybody understands pH scale, that's approaching caustic soda or oven cleaner. And this was being sold as your carpet cleaning detergent.
And considering, caustic soda and oven cleaner is on metal enamel surfaces, and this is on fibre.
Yeah.
All right, I know that some of the nylons are pretty tough, but you get that anywhere near a wool or a wool
carpet.
blend.
Now think about it. Would you put caustic soda on your head?
No.
No. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't put it on my skin, let alone my head.
No.
But that's the stuff there that if you put that onto a wool fibre, you're going to chemically degrade that wool fibre.
I can imagine quite rapidly.
Well, yeah. And you're not rinsing it off. You're leaving it in contact with that fibre. So it's the damage that happens over time. It may look okay when you first do the job. And in fact, it'll clean brilliantly.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
Visually, but what's the damage it's doing in the long term?
Yes.
If it's an acid dyed nylon, so there's two different types of nylon you can get, the acid dyed and the solution dyed. Solution dyed is pretty colour fast, but the acid dyed is a dye that's added after the fiber's been made.
Right.
If you start going above pH 9.9, it is, you'll start stripping off those dyes, breaking down those acid dyes and actually losing colour. So, in that sense, there's also a danger. If you've got a solution dyed nylon carpet that had stain protection on it, and you put that product on it, well, guess what? You don't have it anymore. So you'll get a carpet that will resoil rapidly, as well as having the red detergent residues. It's got no protection on it at all. So you've actually done damage. It's not visible, but you've done damage.
And with your walls and those types of fabric, I can guess, because I haven't seen it, but I can imagine that this wall's going to start to shed, maybe?
Well, it's not so much shed, it's actually going to break down.
It's actually going to just disintegrate.
Yeah, because look, wool will only tolerate up to about a pH 8.5 as a cleaning agent.
Right.
But it likes to be staying in the very slightly acidic state, because everything around us in nature is slightly acidic.
Yes.
Most of the food we eat is slightly acidic. The rain you'll get is slightly acidic. Even your tap water will be slightly acidic.
Yes.
So it likes to sit in the range of 5.5 to 7. 7 is neutral and 5.5 is on the acid side. But it will tolerate, notice I said tolerate, up to 8.5. But if you leave it in that state of 8.5 over a period of time, it will chemically burn the fibre. A classic example of that is bicarb soda. It's only around about 8.5 in the actual pH, but because it's sitting in contact, there's enough moisture in the atmosphere, and the wool itself has a moisture regain of about 12 to 40% to keep that bicarb, even though it looks like powder, it keeps it active, and it chews away at the nylon, the wool fibre, and you end up with a chemical degradation of the fibre.
Wow.
Permanent loss, gone. It's like, Mr. Stanley, come along, please cut that out, and replace it. And that's the only option you have.
So I suppose a few people may be saying, if it is so bad, how can they sell it? But one of the things you were saying is, because if you read it, you're meant to rinse it out. As a professional carpet cleaner, we use not just a pre-spray and then hope to God that we rinse it all off. We actually use rinsing agents to neutralise it, okay, and then bring it back down to a safe level where the carpet is happy. So your rinsing agent isn't just a matter of rinsing as we might understand it, of wash it out.
That's right, yeah.
It is actually got things in it that will neutralise.
To actively knock those detergents out of the carpet so we bring it back to a safe level. Now, how are you going to do that? By chucking it in your machine and attacking the carpet. And then you're leaving all this residue in there, which then resoils the carpet. So 3 months later, you're recleaning the carpet. Now, the general rule of thumb is every 12 to 18 months that you're supposed to reclean your carpet.
Right.
As a general rule of thumb.
Not every-
It does vary.
Not every 3 to 4 months.
But not every 3 to 4 months. Now, if you're using that kind of a method, and after 3 months, you start to see all the traffic areas are getting grungy, there's spots everywhere, it's the chemical residues that are doing that.
So if you're putting this type of chemical in your carpet and then you're not rinsing it off or neutralising, it is still being held there in the carpet. So any child crawling over there
is going to be potentially affected by it.
Is in contact with it.
I mean, particularly for anyone with any chemical sensitivities, most people, it won't bother them too much, but as I said, sometimes it will build up over time.
Yes.
Okay, there's been I know there's one particular product that which was in 2 of the products I looked at was the 2-butoxyethanol. That stuff there, it's an alcohol.
Right.
So it's a little bit of a schizophrenic type product because it's miscible with both oil and water.
It's an alcoholic type product.
Well, yeah. But I mean, that stuff there, it can potentially affect human health.
Wow.
It's absorbed through the skin readily. So if you get a spill in your hands, it actually absorbs through your skin more readily than it does through your lungs.
Yes.
So while you're using it, you're breathing it in. If you leave it sitting behind the carpet, yes, it will evaporate off after a particular period of time. But there's still going to be so much other stuff sitting in there. And especially if you've got a caustic soda base in it, it doesn't evaporate off. It stays there permanently until it's rinsed out.
So you did look at one. And so out of 4, you found one that you were kind of going, okay.
I found one that I'd be actually comfortable in using myself.
Right.
Now, the other 2, I could still use myself, but I know how to treat it and how to neutralise them properly.
And what fabrics or fibres to put it on?
They'll be tolerable on pretty much any synthetic fibre. There was only one that I found that I actually could safely use on wool fibre, and it was quite subtle in its ingredients. I was quite surprised by it actually, and I thought, well, you know what, I actually might even give that a try myself and see how it works, because of the fact that it was one of those ones that would really tick the boxes for everything. May not be so great on a synthetic carpet because it might not have the guts, but it won't harm a wool fibre.
Right, okay. So it'd be fairly safe for your average household use.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you still have to rinse it out?
You still have to rinse it out. You don't want to leave residues behind in your carpet. It's the residues, even if they have zero health effect, they still have a resoiling effect, which is why you're just chasing your tail forever cleaning your carpets. And when I do go and clean those sorts of carpets, like I said, it's a rinsing. I barely have to use any detergent at all because there's so much already in the carpet.
So when someone say they went down the track and said, oh, I'm going to give it a crack myself, I think I could do this, and they hire the machine from somewhere, and then the person at the shop goes, well, here's your cleaning agent. What can your average person look for on that? Or what should they be asking for on that before they go, no, you can keep that one, buddy, I'll have the other one?
Well, there's a range of different things that you probably need to look at as a professional, but as someone who's coming in and asking those questions, well, who are you going to ask them from? Because the person down at the local hardware store or supermarket, they're not going to have the answers.
No, they'll just tell you
you can go online and you'll get a certain amount of information of it. I mean, once again, you get the SDS sheet, but if you don't know how to read it, what does it mean to you?
Exactly.
You get a list of a couple of the hazardous ingredients and a pH level and how does it smell? And
it's like on the back of the food packaging, they put all those numbers on. I mean, who's going to look at all those numbers?
Who knows what they all mean? But if you've got an interest in your health and the cleanliness of your own property, you probably should be looking at it and thinking and considering those sorts of factors a little bit more readily.
Yes.
I mean, I have a lot of people that ask me, like, what are you using in my house?
Right.
You know, I don't want you coming here and making me ill. I was like, well, let's look at it this way. I'm working with it every day.
Yes.
Who needs it to be safe?
Yeah.
We do.
Yes.
As carpet cleaners, we're marinating the stuff all day long.
Yeah.
Now, there are certain products we have that do have some of those nasty ingredients in there. We just can't avoid them in every situation, especially not when you're dealing with an oily synthetic.
Right.
But I know I insist with my staff, the first thing that comes out of the van before they walk into the house is a pair of gloves. Okay, so we don't get anything on our hands, whether it be spiders or whether it be chemicals or whatever it is. Okay, we've got some form of protection there. But there is one particular one that I looked at, and it said there's a section in there that says about the PPE you're supposed to use. Now, the one that I'm talking about that was really safe, no PPE required, and that's really uncommon. And I mean, seriously uncommon. I was really quite taken aback when I saw that.
No PPE.
No PPE required.
Personal protection equipment.
That's it. No personal protection equipment required.
Yes.
Another one, it was talking about chemical-proof goggles. It was talking about aprons. It was talking about shoes. It was talking about arm-length gloves. You basically had to be completely covered from head to toe to safely use their product. Is that what you want in your home?
No.
I don't think I would.
No.
I don't even want to use that as a normal everyday cleaner for me as a professional.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
That's what they were recommending.
Well, that's one of the ones that I came up with my search
Yes.
on the web this morning.
Goodness me.
So, and you also got to be careful because if they're more than 4 years old or 5 years old, they're out of date. And a lot of the ones I did find initially on the internet were completely and utterly out of date. So it's best if you can. Most of them do have links from their website. One of them didn't have any links at all. I had to find and dig for it, which was a bit naughty because it's supposed to be easily available to anyone.
Yep.
But there you go. You can get the information and arm yourself a little bit beforehand. But if you start seeing things like PPE from head to foot, that's not what you want to use.
No, you're kind of going, I'm out of that
Yeah.
one. These ones that you're saying with the actual chemicals, you find one that is, you think it is relatively safe. So if someone was hiring a machine, not only have they got to hire it, so they've got to get a good vacuum first and vacuum, normally with a power head vacuum cleaner, like you said, to get the...
Well, an upright one, that's right.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it, and that's why the industry standard is for an upright vacuum cleaner with the HEPA filter.
With the HEPA filter
Yes.
as well. Otherwise, the dust is going straight back out the back door and back under your carpet. And then after you're cleaning it, then you've got to have a suitable rinsing agent.
That's right.
And would I be right in saying that rinsing agent is then going to match the chemical
Pretty much, yeah.
that you put on there?
With my trainees, I always recommend that they use brand A and brand A chemical and neutraliser because they're designed to go together.
Yes.
Okay, and one's not going to overpower the other because sometimes they're really quite potent as far as the cleaning chemistry goes. So it needs quite a potent neutraliser to bring it back to a safe level. So you've got to understand your chemistry. Now I make my trainees go through what we call a titration test with their chemicals, so they can actually see how their chemicals react with each other to make sure they're getting the right end result. Are you going to be doing that as a normal householder? No, you're not. So how can you tell? You use the correct stuff.
Yeah.
Now the other problem I find is as far as the cost factor goes. Now you go to your supermarket, whatever, you buy a machine, it's $40, $50, whatever it is to hire the machine, roughly speaking. Yeah. You hire the machine. Now, when was the last time that machine got serviced?
Yeah. Well, I saw one the other day at one of the, I won't name the hardware store, I think it was $90 or $99 or something just to hire it without chemicals, just to hire the machine. Right. To take it home.
Okay, well I've seen online as cheap as $39.90.
Wow.
Okay. But that's just a hire machine. Then you've got to buy your chemicals.
I wonder when the last time they serviced a $39 machine, mate.
Well, they probably don't get serviced. They literally come in and go out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't get looked at very often. So how much are they really drawing off your carpet? Are they drawing off enough to not make the carpet too wet by the time you're finished?
Yeah, true.
Okay. They're not high-powered machines at the best of times. They can do an adequate job, but they certainly don't do anything to the level of a professional equipment can do.
So you're going to hire your machine.
And then you've got to buy your chemicals. And then I looked at the list of add-on chemicals you can get to deodorize, and you need defoamer as well because these things foam up like crazy and then the machine just cuts out. Then you need to, if you've got urine deposits, you're going to have to get a specific product for this. And they had a list of about probably at least a dozen different add-on sales.
Really?
And if you, as a customer, you want, I've got this and I've got that and I've got the other, and it's sell, buy. And you're walking out of there with potentially, if you're at an absolute minimum on a $39.90 machine, you're going to be spending around $60, $70.
Yeah.
Or you can be spending up to $150 to clean your carpet yourself. And you have to do that, and they have to do that 3 or 4 times a year. It actually becomes more economical to call in a professional.
Who's going to do it once
Who's going to do
a year?
it properly. It will be more expensive than initial outset, but when you add it up over the 4 different times, it actually becomes quite competitive. And the other thing is that we won't be leaving those nasties behind your carpet that's going to cause the resoiling and potential health effects for some people.
Yeah. Wow. That is, I don't think I'd even want to, but personally I wouldn't want to do it myself because I'm trying to think, you've hired the machine, now you've got to use it in all the correct sequences. You're going to wash and clean your machine during all these different things. And then you don't know what the person before you've used, and is there any residue left in that machine when you come out.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things that, you whenever you buy a hire or get a hire machine, you're always running some sort of risk because they're never going to be 100%. They're not going to look after it like the way you would yourself if you owned it.
So someone looking, now say they go, okay, I'm going to get a professional in. Now there are professionals, and then there's those that say they clean carpets.
That's a good way of putting it, yes.
How do you know the person coming, apart from making sure they're a member of the Carpet Cleaning Association, and show you that certificate or badge, how do you know that they're going to do the right thing by you and your carpet in terms of the chemicals they're using? What types of questions can you get a bit of an
just
idea?
ask them their process.
Right.
Okay, so if they just say, oh, well, we come in and clean your carpet, what's your chemical process? Well, we clean your carpet. You know, we just, and as I said, in the cheaper end of the market, a lot of times they're coming in, they're not even pre-vacuuming to start with.
Yeah.
You know, some do, some don't. Most of them, if they do, there's a real quick flash around. As I said, how much can you do in 40 minutes?
Yes.
Including, Okay, now with that there, you've got to do that vacuuming side of things. Then we've got to do any pre-treatments that might be necessary.
So this is like with the spots, when you're
That's
concentrating on spots that have come up?
Yeah, so any of the nastier ones in there, because normally someone will walk through, if they're doing it properly, they'll walk through the property with you and ask questions.
Yes.
Okay, and I'll start looking at identifying the fibres, looking at the area around them, see what sort of sequence of work they need to do, both for the safety side of things and the practicality side of things, because I mean there's an OH&S issue on every job you go to, but then they have to look at what there is, pre-treat that, then start bringing out the chemistry suitable for that type of carpet.
Right.
Okay, so if they have a one-size-fits-all approach, it won't work. And then once again, if you've got that chemical you're going to use, have you got the right neutralising agent to go with it?
Yes. So, are they from the same manufacturer?
Well, yeah, that does help. Unless someone's done that testing themselves and know that it's going to come back to a level that they want it to be, they can't know unless they're using brand A and brand
Right.
A.
Yeah. Well, so there's a few questions, and they should be able to give you the answers fairly
quickly, and not just fudge around and go, yeah, well, I just used this, and that doesn't quite cut it.
That doesn't quite.
I mean, a lot of people are quite cluey these days, and as I said, we do get asked the question. So we're quite prepared to give an answer that will satisfy your issues.
Yeah, especially when it comes to chemicals. And I think people are becoming more aware these days when it does come to chemicals now, going, as you said, you quite often get asked, what are you using? Is it going to be good for my health? And so forth. So, the pet's going to be safe on the carpet after you've finished.
Yeah. It's all part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
Because look, there are some people that do call us as well that have severe chemical allergies. So how are we going to clean if they've got severe chemical allergies? Well, we've got a way around that as well.
Right.
We do have something that is so mild in its health effect that it essentially doesn't even need an SCS sheet. There's nothing in there to do anything for you. It's non-mutagenic, it's non-carcinogenic, it covers all the bases.
Right.
Okay. The only thing that people don't like about it is it doesn't have a smell. And most people associate clean with a pretty smell.
But of course, you put a smell in there, you've got another chemical.
You've got another chemical, that's exactly right.
So
which is why it doesn't have it.
Right. Okay. So if you are someone that you know you've got health issues in the family or sensitivities in the family, anything like that, and someone said, look, I've got this, but it's got no smell, you're kind of going, aha.
Right. Well,
That's
here's something that might be a little bit more switched on, but how are you going to get that out of your, whatever it is, brand A hire machine? They don't. They have that one chemical, and it's one chemical for everyone. And as I said, some are okay.
Yeah.
Others are okay-ish, and some are just horrendous.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So a lot in chemicals for your health, your pets, your kids, the elderly walking around, and the longevity.
And how well is your carpet being cleaned at the end of the day? You know, if it's resoiling within 3 months, it's not been cleaned.
don't use that person again. Unless it's you spilling the wine and.
Well, that's a different kettle of fish, and then that's just you know, a calamity if you go and drop your red wine on the carpet. And that's not so much of the carpet. It's like for you, how dare you waste your wine?
I know. I'm going to ask one. I know you got to go because I know you're really busy, but just one quick one, because you do recolorings as well.
Correct.
On carpets. And since we're talking chemicals, how do these chemicals work as from a health perspective so someone says, well, you know, this is recoloring, that might damage my health. How does that actually work?
For the actual dyes you're talking about?
Yes.
No, look, by the time that we walk out of there, those dyes are fixed. They're not coming off. They're not going anywhere. It's like pretty much like the original dyes that were put in the carpet in the first place.
Yep.
And we try to leave it as dry as possible. We actually, you watch us quite often, we get the old hairdryer out and dry it off.
Yes.
So by the time we leave, there's nothing. You can run a white cloth over the top of it. Nothing will come off. Wow. It is bonded to the fibre, so you don't have any health.
Because I know in a few of your rental properties we've talked about before, sometimes the cost of just a recolour, as long as it's slightly darker than the original, you can do things like that. Change the colour slightly of the carpet, hide some of those things so they get another 10 years, whatever.
Look, generally speaking, if you can just get an evenness over the carpet, even by doing just a good, proper restorative type of clean, that's as much as you need. You don't always need to go to the expense of having the carpets recoloured. Right. Okay, if you've got patches on the carpet, we can just recolour those patches and get it back to the colour it's supposed to be. Because let's face it, unless you're changing the colour to change the colour scheme, which you're not in a rental property.
No.
You just want it to get back to a good base, and that's what we do. And as fresh air carpet cleaning, we excel in.
Yes, well, I do know that because I know that a couple of property managers that have been stuck, and I put them on to you, and they've rang me back and gone, he's a magician. How did he do that? The other person didn't.
Yeah, I remember the first one that you referred me onto in that regard, and she was. Let's say, not quite willing to believe.
No.
And because you referred me so strongly, and I went in there and said to her what I can do and what I couldn't do, and she just left me to it, and then came back as I was getting towards the end of the job, and her face was classic. I loved it. It was beautiful to watch.
It certainly was. So someone, either in their home or property manager or anyone, who says, hey, this might be worth having a chat to you. What's the best way of contacting yourself, Franco?
Okay, so if you're not going to do it yourself and you do want to leave it to the professionals and save a few dollars and you're back, give us a call, Fresh Air Carpet Cleaning, 0418 914 097. That'll get you through to the office girls quite happily, or you can go to the website. It's facc.com.au, and that will bring you up onto a page that you can actually put a request in there, or just go to our Facebook page. There's also that way to access as well. So it's Fresh Air, 2 words with an E on the end of air, carpet cleaning. Facebook, hit us up, we'll get back to you.